I am Nicole Jenkins from Straight Talk TV. We have, who are you?
Oh, my name is Chris Arps.
And who are you?
And here, this bright, beautiful morning, Randall Cahill.
Oh, and we have a special guest in the house, Alderman Jeffrey Boyd. Jeffrey Boyd is running for mayor for City of St. Louis. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Are you ready for the race?
I am absolutely ready. I'm excited.
Okay. So what do you think about this race? There's so many candidates in here.
It is so many candidates, but it's an opportunity for everybody. The field is wide open.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling a lot of energy and a lot of love across the city of St. Louis. And
Okay.
we're just real upbeat and excited about this race and the opportunity to help St. Louis rise. It's time for St. Louis to get to the next level.
Okay. What do you think about creating that diversity in St. Louis City?
Oh, St. Louis is a very diverse city already. What we need to do is be able to create platforms where people can really come together and appreciate and celebrate each other's cultural differences.
Okay. Chris, you have any questions?
Yeah, Nicole kind of stole my question, a little bit of my thunder.
I always do that.
The 800-pound gorilla in the room is, regarding the race, is all of the candidates in the race. And without giving your specific campaign strategy, how do you or some of the other African-American candidates expect to win with so many candidates supposedly dividing the vote up in North St. Louis?
Sure. Well, I'm approaching this race as if I'm applying for the CEO job of the city of St. Louis. And what I bring is a unique set of skill sets. I have served my country for over 23 years. I'm a retired master sergeant. I'm very loyal, dedicated, and I believe in service. I have serviced the 22nd Ward for 14 years, one of the toughest wards in the city of St. Louis. I'm a property owner. I've been providing affordable quality housing in St. Louis for over 24 years. I have a master's degree in business administration, and I'm a small business owner in my neighborhood. So I'm very well rounded, and I have the depth of experience more than any other candidate that's running to really understand the issues that impact our city most.
Jeffrey, what about those folks that say Jeffrey's ran for citywide office twice before? Mm-hmm. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And hasn't came back with the bacon. We've got some folks to answer to, and we'd like to know what's going to be different this time.
Sure. Well, certainly every election is different. I did run for treasurer back in 2012, but I'm excited I got over 10,000 votes. I ran for license collector in 2014. Mm-hmm. I was 411 votes shy. I have been able to put myself across the whole city twice now. So there are a lot of people who know who Jeffrey Boyd is. So I really think that I have a leg up because this is my third time around, but I've had 2 opportunities to have more experience. And I'm doing it a little different. The last time I ran, I basically ran a campaign on solo, just myself pretty much. I did pretty much everything. This time I have a phenomenal campaign manager and a campaign staff, and we're doing exciting things, and that is different. And that's why I'm so motivated and so excited about this campaign for mayor. And it's a unique opportunity for the city of St. Louis. The other elections, license collector and treasurer are basically department heads. You know, they're not real true leaders in the community because they run departments. An alderman is a legislator. The mayor is part of the executive branch. So we make laws. The Board of Aldermen create the laws, the mayor signs off on them. People are paying more attention to this race than the other races.
Brings me to my next point. You were somewhat pillarized in the American newspaper, and particularly North City as being one of Slay's minions or one of his boys, for lack of a better word. How do you explain that to North St. Louis? How were you mischaracterized? If you were mischaracterized, can you please tell us, just how you plan on getting a vote from North City?
That's a great question, Rand. And I have been vilified by that newspaper because I'm a threat. I'm a very independent thinker. I'm a soldier. I'm a real soldier. I've been a soldier for my community. I'm a man of integrity. I don't play games with people. My word means something. And I'm a threat to the establishment. And so you have to go after people who are a threat. And I don't apologize for having a relationship with the mayor of the city of St. Louis. If you're going to be an elected official, you are duly representing the people that put you in office, and you have a responsibility to deliver on the promises. The mayor of the city of St. Louis controls a lot of resources. Here's what I'm most proud of. I was told by Richard Barron of McCormick, Barron and Salazar that we could not have major development in my neighborhood for 15 to 20 years. And my response to him was, Richard, we've been waiting 20 years, so you mean we have to wait 35 or 40? But through my relationships with the mayor's administration and other partners that we brought to the table, that same gentleman, Richard Barron, did a $34 million project in my neighborhood 2 years later. And that's because I did have a relationship with the mayor. It is not in anybody's best interest as an elected official to fight against who's in office. It shouldn't matter if the person is in office is a Republican, a Libertarian, a Democrat, or whoever. Whether people perceive that person as being a racist or whatever, your responsibility as a true leader is to do something impactful for your community. And oftentimes you have to work with people who you may not like.
That actually segues into the next question I was going to ask. You know, on the national level, we have members of the Congressional Black Caucus. Our local Congressman Lacy Clay did not go to the inauguration. There's been members in the Black Caucus that said they will not work with Donald Trump. They view him as illegitimate. If you were fortunate to become the next mayor of St. Louis, would you have a problem working with the Trump administration to bring resources back here? Would you work with Lacy Clay or try to talk him into working with the Trump administration to try to help St. Louis?
Well, it goes further than that. Number one, we have a Republican governor who happens to be a Navy SEAL, who I feel I have a connection with just based on the fact that we both understand what service to our community and service to our country is like. I want to make sure I have a strong relationship with our state legislatures in Jefferson City, Republicans and Democrats. I would love to be in Washington, D.C. testifying before the Congress, Republican Congress, and the President if I have opportunity to share my vision and my story about St. Louis and get them to understand that we are people of value and we deserve opportunities. And I would encourage them to be a partner with us in the city of St. Louis. That's what real leadership looks like. I cannot imagine fighting for 4 years with someone and getting nothing done. And that has happened far too long. Divisive politics and sitting back just throwing stones, that's not helping the people that you represent.
I definitely agree with that. I think that the fights among Democrats alone, the fighting, it has to stop because nobody's progressing in St. Louis City. And then you come and you say, I want a city-county merge, and I get it. But I think that we need to fix what's in St. Louis City right now. We need to fix the attitudes of the politicians. They need to work together. You know, just because you're African American and you know that you're going to get the votes and you know that there's identity politics that lie in St. Louis City, that doesn't mean that you are right. And I wish that more minorities come out and vote them out.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm not going to hold my tongue on that. So with that being said, we're going to take a small break and we'll be back with Straight Talk TV.
It was a place like Harris Stowe that took a chance on me as a first-generation college student from a single-parent household. A place like Harris Stowe provided me an educational opportunity that allowed me to be the youngest college president in the country. Harris Stowe has amazing degree programs. We have one of the most quality, affordable educations in this region. Small classroom environment, family environment, very welcoming to all students, and be prepared to be a global leader in the global society. Harris Stowe is the place for you.
Welcome back. This is your second half of Straight Talk TV with Christopher Arps, myself, Nicole Jenkins, Mayor-elect. He hasn't been elected, I'm sorry, but I want you to be elected. Jeffrey Boyd, who's running for mayor for City of St. Louis, and attorney Randall Cahill, our second co-host. And we will begin to talk about the educational system in the city of St. Louis. Now, being a mayor, I know that you can, if you become mayor, what are your goals for helping the educational system? And it's only so much that you can do. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So what are your goals?
Well, first of all, I'm a proud product of St. Louis Public Schools.
Okay.
All my children have attended St. Louis Public Schools. My youngest daughter is a junior at Metro, and my grandbaby is in pre-K at Washington Montessori. So I've been involved with my wife and I for over 20-something years with St. Louis Public Schools, and being that we have our youngest in the system currently, I want to make sure I am a strong advocate for our public school system. I have a very good relationship with Dr. Kelvin Adams. I want to make sure I'm in Jefferson City advocating for simple legislation like seatbelts on school buses to make sure that our children are safe when they're traveling to school and back home. I want to make sure that we have expansion of our before and after care programs so that the children are getting the extra enrichment programs that they need to achieve academic excellence. And also we should have pre-K at universal, where every child has an opportunity. And so being the biggest advocate, I think, is very important. And being involved in the schools and getting to know some of the teachers. I want to be intimately involved in our educational system. One of the things I know as a leader, if you walk the walk and talk the talk, you can inspire people and you can affect change.
I agree. So if you became mayor and I came to you and said, Jeffrey, because my background is I am a former resident of St. Louis City. I grew up next to your first ward, Sharon Tyus Ward, off of Terry. And education is what truly saved me. I think when I look amongst my peers, that is what saved me. My mother, she worked a lot, but I had a good upbringing with my grandmother and my grandparents, but honestly, that thrive for education, that is what made me become the woman that I am. And if I came to you and said, Jeffrey, this is what's going on. You have all within this 63115, 63113 zip code, we have 6 schools that are closed, but you have 3 schools open, and the teachers, it's a student to teacher ratio of 30 to 1 teacher, 30 students to 1 teacher. And can we open up these schools? Can you get with St. Louis Public Schools? Is there some way that you can open these schools up and lessen the class size? Give these kids the appropriate textbooks they need. Give them the appropriate education that they need, because majority of the city is made up of minorities. Minorities and Latinos. I mean, let's be honest. How would you feel about that?
Well, the city of St. Louis, with its general revenue, doesn't actually have funding that's set aside for our St. Louis public school system. They are their own state entity, their own government body, and therefore they need to make sure that they're allocating their resources appropriately. Now, what we can do as a city, we can partner with the St. Louis public school system and maybe open up some of these schools as learning centers for after school programs. That is something I'd be very interested in, because some of our children, I was talking with a teacher the other day, she does special ed, and she was telling me how so many of these kids are just moved through K through 8, and they get to high school and they really can't read. But the system it allows them to just move forward. But once you get to 9th grade and you're behind, it's a big struggle. And that's why we're finding a lot of the young people are just dropping out of high school. If you can't read and do basic math, that's very frustrating. And so what I would be interested in is partnering with our St. Louis public schools to make sure that we have extra enrichment programs and utilize some of these school buildings before they get attacked by vandalism and they just fall into disrepair.
One way to attract, different industry and business to a city is the quality of the school system. And I know the city of St. Louis, I think they just got part of their accreditation back. But conservatives, Democrats, Republicans, liberals will all admit that the school system is in trouble and is not really doing all that it needs to for our students. Would you be in favor of trying experiments like charter schools or something to give these parents some type of choice so they can give their kids a quality education and improve the city's prospects as well?
Well, charter schools already exist, and I do believe in options. But one of the problems is our schools are very underfunded. And when we sit here, and when elected officials, especially in Jefferson City, because the buck starts there, when they talk about how important education is, like you just said, Nicole, how important and how it made you a better person today. Well, every politician that runs for state rep and state senator, they all say the same thing. I'm big on education, but they don't work hard to get it funded. And when you have an educational system that's underfunded, you're going to have underachievers. And it just goes hand in hand. So we need to do a better job at making sure that our public school system is appropriately funded. yesterday or day before, I know the new governor, he just cut $145 million out of higher education fund. Well, that doesn't help people in my neighborhood who may need scholarships.
I understand the mayor has no direct influence on the school board. But we also know the mayor is the leader of St. Louis. He's the CEO of our city, and he's used it as a bully pulpit to, it looks like at least the last mayor, to sway people to go to charter schools. Is that something that's a great idea, or does that just drain the pot from the Board of Education and leave us even less money, which is why our school system seems to be progressively going down?
Right. Charter schools do take our public dollars out of St. Louis public schools.
So it seems like you would be totally against it if it's just a drain of the fund.
What I'm saying is, I believe that people should have options. But I also believe that children should be afforded an opportunity to have a quality education. And sometimes we have to work with what we have. But if we don't adequately fund them, it becomes more challenging.
Well, it's even harder to fund it if every student that pulls out now, along with them, goes whatever money was allocated for his education. Am I right?
Right. But every student is not pulling out. And you have a certain percentage of children that are taking that particular option. But at the end of the day, we have to be more involved in our children's education. Okay? We have to complement the lack of financial resources in our school system. And what I mean by that is we have to come up with programs that are going to help these young people that are struggling out there. You know, if
we're listening to you, what do you propose?
Well, one of the things I propose is, first of all, let's make sure we got a handle and an understanding of what's going on in our communities.
Okay.
What are some of the real issues? Not having adequate jobs, parents on drug addicted, okay, alcohol addiction. There are a lot of social barriers for these children to achieve.
Absolutely.
And we continue to just walk around that. It's a big issue. And people act like it's not their responsibility, but until we come together as a community and we look out for one another, these children are not going to have the greatest chance that they can have.
So let's come back to this. We're going to take a short break because this is really a good topic, the social issues and what's going on in the community. So we're going to take a short break and we'll be back with Straight Talk TV.
For more than a century, the St. Louis Carpenters Union has shaped St. Louis. Through trusted alliances, we deliver skilled professional craftspeople, while our business partners provide the kind of quality jobs that keep our economy humming. It's a blueprint that has worked since 1882. A career in union carpentry means great pay, exceptional benefits, and professional skills training, unmatched in the industry. We are 20,000 members strong, and we work for St. Louis. Visit carpdc.org to learn more.
So we are back with Straight Talk TV. Thank you, St. Louis, for tuning in. Jeffrey Boyd, Randall Cahill, Nicole Jenkins, and Christopher Arps. We had this heated discussion. It actually got really good because it was a very real discussion and topics about kids just don't have the resources and families don't have the resources that reside in St. Louis City. And, you know, me, majority of you might know me, some might not, but I had a show on ABC 30. Second season will be starting back up in March, back on the block. And speaking of Terry Street, it was on Terry Street. So I went back to my former childhood neighborhood, and just recently there was a young girl that was 12 years old found in an abandoned building on Terry Street. She was raped. She was brutally beat. And these are the things that we, have to avoid. And I often say, you never know what someone's going through. And so when we look at these children and we say, oh, they need to be put behind bars, I disagree. I think we need to come to them from a more psychological standpoint, because you never know what they're going through. You never know what has happened to them. This is a very iffy topic, but how do we change that? Because when I go down Terry, when I lived on Terry 20 plus years ago, the street wasn't like that. It was a very nice street. And now I see that street, and there's no way, just me, myself being a mother, I know that my son would not be happy residing there. My son would not excel in school residing there, no matter how good of a mother I try to be. There is no hope in those neighborhoods, and I'm really hitting these people that are running for mayor and these candidates. I'm going to hit you hard, because you need to know that you fix up the Central West End, and you fix up St. Louis Hills, and you fix up Tower Grove. But what about 63115? What about some parts of 63112? What about that Delmore Divide? You know, how do we fix that with you, running for mayor? If you became mayor, what would be your goal to provide these children and families with resources, just to have hope? Nothing is ever going to be fair in America, but provide them with hope, stability, housing to start.
Well, first of all, it just broke my heart to hear about the 12-year-old young lady that became missing, and I'm just thankful to God that they found her. I have 2 daughters, and I just couldn't imagine something like that happening to them. Things like that don't have to happen in our neighborhood. If we really commit ourselves to rebuilding our neighborhoods, we shouldn't have a lot of vacant buildings and vacant lots. And the city has not done a good job at rebuilding neighborhoods. Here's my
So will you change this whole LRA process, not to cut you off? Because the city took me for 3 months. It took me 3 months to get a vacant home that they wanted $1,000 for. If I had the money, why can't you give me this home? If I say that I'm coming into a neighborhood that's dilapidated, and I want to build this neighborhood, I want to help build this neighborhood, why are you taking me through hoops and hurdles to help rebuild a neighborhood that the politicians should be rebuilding, who were elected in?
Well, first of all, you shouldn't have to jump through a lot of hoops and red tape, and unfortunately that's very typical with government. I would support selling houses for $1. However, Nicole, we have to also be responsible in how we do that. Because what we don't want to do is sell homes to people for $1 because they have good intentions. Because then you can do that, it goes back on the tax rolls, but people do nothing with it. And then you have speculators that are just sitting on it waiting for a big payday when a big development comes. So we have to be responsible to make sure that everyone that's applying for one of these homes actually have the resources to get it done. I sit on the neighborhood development committee, and I see board bills for tax abatement in which people are getting $200,000 for a single family house, plus another $100,000 of a loan. So it's $300,000 to fix up this single family 3-bedroom house, and it gets to sell for $130,000.
Wow.
Now, did we eliminate a derelict house? Absolutely. But at what cost? My strategy would be take that money and leverage and do 10 homes and 20 homes and 100 homes. We're doing it all wrong.
Jeffrey,
And we would need to,
how are we going to be able to build if we can't put crime under control? Nobody wants to be in the middle of a place that their 12-year-old daughter is subject to be grabbed by the back of her neck and pulled away. And that seems to be the warning sign across all of North City, at least as we stand right now. There needs to be some positive input. I don't know where 90% of it comes from jobs, Jeffrey. You know? So it dovetails into the question, how can you bring the jobs back? You know, but we've got to do something, because nobody's going to build any place that they can't feel safe. And I wouldn't want to be there if I'm not safe.
Let me piggyback just a second.
Certainly.
Randall, you know, I've known you for 15 years, have the utmost respect for you. My respect climbed even higher for you about a year ago. You got some national notoriety about, I think it was your cousin,
my
nephew, and you went on a rant, and News Channel 4 here covered it. It got thousands of hits, national TV, and you know, people would just see your passion, that you were just upset. We've got to get away from this non-snitching stuff. The violence has to stop. One part of that, I think, to help with the crime is there needs to be better relations between the people and the police. If you're fortunate to become mayor, and there is a bad relationship between African Americans and the police right now, do you see that as your role? Will that be an active role for you as mayor to try to improve police relations between African American community and the police?
absolutely. It's one of my top priorities. Number one, we need to make sure that we have a police department that's adequately staffed, that's well trained, and that reflects the diversity of our whole community. That's number one. We also must put strategic plans in place in which they're connecting with the community. I want to see in every neighborhood bike patrols and foot patrols. When people see the police officers interacting with them, and this is basic stuff, because remember, when we were growing up, there was officer friendly, we saw a police officer, you waved at them, people were connected with law enforcement. Right now, they're so disconnected because everything has become so centralized. And we need to decentralize some of that. I would, reorganize the police department in a way that is more effective and efficient, and it really gets out into the community. But the other thing we have to do, Rand, to your point, here's a proven fact. When you build up a neighborhood with houses and new businesses, crime goes down because they move somewhere else. So we have to put together this comprehensive housing development plan and start there. I am not a status quo politician. Matter of fact, I'm a much better public servant than I'm a politician because my heart is in service. And if you don't have a value system for service, you really have no business in politics because it has to be about the people. And I'm asking the city of St. Louis to give me a chance, someone who is a proven leader, having served 23 years in the military, 14 years in the toughest neighborhood in the city of St. Louis. I get it. I have the energy, I have the passion to deliver. And I've done it. I have a track record of succeeding in that. I'm not just going to talk the talk. I'm going to walk the walk.
Well, you heard it. Hey, he's not going to talk the talk. He's going to walk the walk. Jeffrey Boyd running for mayor of City of St. Louis. Jeffrey, that was a great interview. What do you guys think, Randall and Chris?
I'm hopeful.
I'm very hopeful, and I want change to happen, and that's what this show is about. This is Straight Talk, and we are Straight Talk. So if you want to come on this show, be ready.
Let's rise, St. Louis.
St. Louis, let's rise. Jeffrey Boyd, mayor. I should just say mayor-elect.
I would say
running mayor candidate.
Let's speak it into existence.
For the city of St. Louis, and we hope that we do rise in St. Louis City, because there are a lot of people that are living in poverty, and hopefully Straight Talk can get to the issues at hand. Next week we will be talking about police guidelines and citizens and police, and actually the city and county merge. And I think I might get Jennifer Bird on here. Straight Talk St. Louis.
But Rand's today is about these cell phones, our smartphones. One of my little nieces said, Uncle Randall, you don't need a smartphone. You don't know how to use it. I thought about it. I said, she's right. I don't know how to do all of those things. I hear about Twittering. I don't know how to Twitter. I hear about WhatsApp app. I don't know the WhatsApp app. I don't know how to upload stuff. I don't know how to download stuff. One of the things that also comes to mind is that the kids are pretty smart if they got the smartphone, but what happens when the smartphone goes off? I may not be able to use MapQuest, but I know how to read a map. I know the acronyms, because they're actually acronyms. I don't know what DIR means, or I don't know what, TY or TTLY means. I see all the signs sometimes in my community where all the words are spelled wrong. I'm not so sure they know how to do that either. They have a false sense of security when it comes to these smartphones. And I'm afraid that if you don't know what you're doing before you get a smartphone, you certainly won't know what you're doing afterwards. Rand's rant.